And with me is my friend and sister Amanda James. She's going to be our co host today. And I want you to welcome her and make her feel as if she is already and has been for a long time a part of the family. Hello,
Hello,
Amanda. Just say
everyone.
hello.
Hi, everyone. Hope you can
Great.
hear me
Great.
clearly.
Yeah, man, we're
Thanks.
hearing you fine. And this is
Great to be
family
here.
time. This is family time. It's about your issues and your relationships. It's about your at home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. So stay with us and please join in via all our platforms. We have Facebook, we have YouTube, which is live, and of course, we also have Instagram. Today, we're talking about disruptive technology. That refers to an innovation that has the potential to replace existing technologies and systems. Now, that kind of technology can drastically change market behavior, operation, and social or economic norms, which is why we refer to them as disruptive technologies. There's positive and negatives to this. Technologies like smartphones, positive and negatives to it. But how does it specifically affect our jobs, our career choices, and us individually? How should or do we respond to these disruptions? This evening, our talk is about disruptive technology and career choices. And we really want to know, how is technology affecting your career choice and how are you adjusting? We're talking about you, our guests out there, all right? All of you listening. So send your responses via WhatsApp text or voice notes, and make sure the voice notes are no longer than 30 seconds. And you're going to send it to 997-3125, or you can call the studio lines 968-8327 or 968-8328 to participate. And you remember, of course, that you want to put 876 in front of that. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook page and also on YouTube. We're going to be right back with our special guests, Rudy and Carlin Robinson. So don't go anywhere, all right?
Ruth Shireen Ministries presents the album launch Judah's War Cry, a night of warfare worship featuring Ruth Shireen, John Mark Wickett, Prince Saj, Javel Clark Wine, Treg Taylor, Audia Spencer Brown, and Tehila Ministries. Saturday, April 29, 5:30 p.m. Jamaica Youth for Christ, 2 Acacia Avenue, 2,500 pre-sold, 3,000 at the gate. Sponsored by Wise Construction Limited, Caribbean Gospel TV, and Miracle of the Potter's Hand International. Ruth Shireen, album launch Judah's War Cry. Don't miss it.
Educome does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95%, and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educome at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educome Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101 FM, the family station. And welcome to Rudy and Carlin Robinson, our special guest this evening. Welcome to you both. Love it. I love it. Sometimes we have two guests and they're on separate panels, but you guys are together and that just make me heart lift. I love it. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Great, great, great. How are you doing? How are you both?
We're doing well. Thanks for
Doing
asking.
well.
We're doing well.
Doing well. Okay, cool. Go ahead,
Okay,
Amanda.
great. So, Carlin Robinson is Dean for Workforce Studies at the Montego Bay Community College, and Rudy Robinson is an industrial engineer. Both Robinsons have worked together since they were married in 1984.
Wow,
Over to you, Alan.
1984.
Yes.
1984. Quick math on that. That's 30 years, 29 years.
39.
39.
39 years. Congratulations. I have to start with that.
Wow,
This is the
wow,
family
wow.
Thank
station.
you. Thank you.
39 years. God bless you. I love that. Now, I just want to remind our audience that we want to hear from them. How is technology affecting your career choice, and how might you be adjusting? Tell us about that, and you can send your WhatsApp text messages or your voice notes that are no longer than 30 seconds. And you can also comment live on Love 101 Facebook or on YouTube. We're going to see it if you do that. So please send in your comments. You can also call on the studio lines 968-8327 or 968-8328. Those are the studio lines. And the WhatsApp lines, for those who don't know, is simply one number, 997-3125. Now, if you've listened to this program, you know that time flies really fast. So we're just going to get right into I see somebody nodding. They know time flies fast.
Definitely.
So we're going to get right into it. What is disruptive technology, and in particular in relation to our careers?
Okay. Disruptive technology is anything that changes a process or a procedure to the point where it's no longer recognizable. So if you're in a particular profession or career and somebody comes along with a new way to do it, and that new way is so radical, so different from the way it was done before, it's regarded as disruptive.
Right. So disruptive has to do with kind of like interrupting what has been going on or breaking a flow of what has been going on normally. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And I would want to add that, the workplace changes so rapidly now in terms of what exists as jobs and what are careers and so on. And there is no long-term working environment anymore. Long gone are the days when someone would have a career for life, and there's this quaint tradition of them getting the gold watch on retirement. That doesn't happen anymore. It won't happen anymore because the workplace is changing way too rapidly, all because of technology and the significance and the magnitude of the disruption that comes with the barreling technology that's coming down on us.
Barreling technology, man, that's a very descriptive phrase. It's as if you're looking behind you and you want to run, but you can't run fast enough.
And the 800-pound gorilla is picking up speed.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of a steamroller coming. Ooh, the barreling technology. But in terms of examples of what we are talking about, can you give us some examples?
Okay. You mentioned one earlier. You talked about the smartphone.
Yes.
And for those of us who are old enough to remember, before there were smartphones, there were a number of professions which were thriving professions. For example, you would have photographers, you'd have video editors, you would have telephone operators. There was a whole heap of professions. And then along comes the smartphone, and those professions are either eliminated or reduced right down to nothing, because now you can use a smartphone and you can take professional photography, professional pictures like you're a photographer, right? Or do videos and edit them on your phone like you actually know what you're doing, And so,
like you know what you're doing, right?
So,
and it affects a whole lot of other things as well. Simple editing. I see my son do editing with videos. He's taken a video and then he edits the video, and then what comes out is different. Normally you would have had somebody else to do that job.
Yes.
Right.
I take the example. Any other examples? What other things? Not the smartphone.
Okay. We can look at
3D printing,
3D
for example.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an opportunity, a manufacturing opportunity, really, for someone who wants to, take advantage of the 3D printing technology, where you can print just about any 3D type of object item from that kind of instrument, the 3D printers. And so, for example, one of the things we look at is shoes. The type of material, you get your type of material. So normally we're used to printers where we're printing text-based documents. So we have
2D images, right?
Yes. Now we have 3D. So we get the material that is required that will make the shoe, and then we can have our design. And once we get that done, we can now send it to our 3D printer to create, to actually make that item, you know, our own custom design thing, put our logo in, you know, um, uh, all these things, that other kinds of items that we could think of, any other item that we could print, you know, put our logos on, label, what have you. Those are other opportunities that can be basically accessed through this technology.
We had a presentation from Montego Bay Community College the other day.
Yes,
there you go.
absolutely. There you go.
Right. So
When now our listeners, some of them can't see. That's why you must join us on Facebook and you must join us on YouTube.
okay.
Because I'm holding up a blue shoe that looks so futuristic. It's made out of a plastic.
Yes,
And I'm pretty sure that this is 3D printed, like you said, or at least
absolutely.
molded in some way. So it totally throws out what we call the shoemaker.
Yes.
This public-
Throws them out.
There are other careers that are impacted as well. I mean, you're looking at teachers, for instance, or educators. They are the way they teach, the way they use resources, the way they assess the students. All that now has to be revised, revamped, tweaked, whatever. The way the teachers are prepared, the way the students are prepared, and that is also something to be considered. People may get, you know, kind of a little scared about, oh, it's going to replace us. This technology will replace teachers. But is it replacing or is it enhancing? Calculators came about and it was supposed to stop us from wanting to do math, but the calculators are still around. Computers were supposed to replace a lot of other kinds of careers, other persons as well, but it didn't really. It enhanced some, and it complemented others. And yes, it did get rid of a few. But with our teachers, for example, they will also see ways in which their careers can be enhanced. And as a young person who is going to be selecting a career, they have to be mindful of those kinds of things that they will need to be au fait with. They will need to learn. Even the way they will learn it will also be different.
Absolutely. That's so important. And you got ahead of me because I was going to ask you what kinds of jobs are affected. And the 3D printing that you mentioned, I think is very, very interesting. I saw recently where we are now having construction using, when I say construction, homes and offices and huge buildings constructed with 3D technology, printing technology. Does that mean that the little man on the side who is going to mix cement or who is going to carry a bucket up onto a wall and put a block, is he going to be out of work?
Not necessarily. Not 3D printing for construction is in its infancy. If you
Right.
look at a lot of the designs that they use it for, most of the corners are not rectangular; they're curved, they're slightly curved because of how the nozzle of the printer moves. You know, not everybody wants that feature. You know, so you'll
Right.
always have to have somebody go in and tidy it up and stuff like that. So 3D printing for construction is restricted right now and limited to certain aspects of construction. So if you're in the construction industry, I wouldn't worry too much about losing your job, right? But you will ultimately lose your job, right?
You will ultimately, but not yet.
Not yet, right?
Good,
And
great,
you'll
great,
have
great.
time to prepare yourself
To
and get ready
adjust.
in other ways, which I'm sure we'll touch on further down.
Right.
Right. One of the things I want to do is ask us or get a sense of how much this impacts us here in Jamaica today. Not just the 3D printing, but disruptive technology generally. We are a very, what would I say now, a very close neighbor to one of the largest economies in the world. But we are not there yet. So is disruptive technology going to bother us right now?
It's been bothering us kind of for a long time. Let me explain. One of the courses that I teach is computer aided design. So you can draw your house plan. You've seen it before. Somebody draws a house plan on the computer, and it's very accurate. It's very neat. Something you could not do on. I don't know if you ever had to use the old T square and set square and drawing board. You had to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's smiling. You are a student in that course, right? Now,
I had to give it up. Wasn't good at it.
No. But now you can design the house on the computer in 3 dimensions. So when you design the house, you can then put furniture and fixtures in that house. So let's say you're doing a master bedroom, and you if you show somebody, oh, this is a master bedroom and it's 15 feet by 20 feet, means nothing. But if you show somebody a 3D master bedroom, and you can see the bed, the king size bed, and the two side tables, and the closet, because this is one of the things I found a lot of my students um, realized that when the ladies looked at the 3D drawings and they looked at the closet, the ladies' closet, and they said, "What is that squeeze up little box?" No, 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 no. Go redesign this house. I want a proper, right? Amanda's going to be quiet on this one. I want a proper closet where I can put my shoes and my clothes and my this and my that. And you have to go redesign the whole house, which is easy to do on the computer, But so it's been disrupted
Mm,
for quite some time. The only thing they've done now is that you can take that final house on the computer, 3D house, and send it to one of these big 3D printers, and it can do the majority of that house.
Man,
okay.
yeah, that's cool.
Okay. I just wanted to go ahead and ask a question though to the Robinsons.
Mhm.
Sure.
Why should we be concerned and proactive about disruptive technology? We'd love to hear your views on that question.
All right.
Technology has basically invaded our space, our existence. It's ubiquitous. It is part of everything we do. We wake up in the morning, we grab the phones. We go to bed at night,
Right.
right, putting the phone right there. That's the next companion kind of thing.
Right.
So the things that we do are all integrated, are all interlinked. And as a result of that, we're going to have to be forward thinking and ensure that we get ourselves ready as individuals. Because if we don't, the technology implementation is not waiting on us. If we are
Indeed.
not
Indeed.
ready, even as a nation, to have our personnel or persons in existing jobs or young persons who are looking at different careers now, if they are
Right.
not adequately equipped, other persons will take those spaces. And bearing in mind that the technology itself is showing that it may actually be able, if pushed, to do without many of us. And
Wow.
so it is
Wow. Wow.
important that for economies to continue to thrive, we have to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented with the technology. We just talked about the 3D printing and the making of the shoes. Entrepreneurs or young
Right.
persons who want to do this kind of thing, they need to learn that and be able to get involved. So, in terms of even the entrepreneurship, small businesses, persons who need to get that done, larger businesses who need to retrofit, retool, and even diversify, go off into different areas, because there are some things which have just died a natural death, and I mean, you look at bookstores and bookshops and so on, and they kind of have given way to other kinds of technologies. And so it is important that persons pay attention to these changes. Get ready is what it says.
Indeed.
On,
Indeed. And I think I should also go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say on the
Go
positive side,
ahead.
because you had asked for the
Yes.
negative one. On the positive side, there's some new careers that are out there, which most of your audience would know about. This thing about vloggers. If you go on YouTube, there are
Right.
many persons who have their own YouTube channel, and
Yes.
they publish either daily,
Definitely.
weekly, monthly, and they have subscribers, they have views, and YouTube actually gives them money if they exceed a certain number
Yes.
of things. This is a career which
That's
never
true.
existed even 10 years ago, And many young
That's
persons
true.
are,
That's
they
true.
come out of school, no particular skills, but they have a nice face. They have they're one of these charismatic voices. They're
Mm.
dramatic, and they start their own little, they're knowledgeable in a particular subject. So they start their own vlogs. They start their own YouTube channels. And some people are making some serious money.
But we have
Yes, I'm
also seen
seeing
where
that
career
happening.
changes have been made, because some of these university graduates who have come out with professional careers have actually
Right.
turned to vlogging as their option, and they have really just abandoned the first career and have moved on. You know.
Absolutely, that's so cool. I noticed that we have a YouTube comment, and so I would ask our let's read that. It says, "Disruption is part of the process of progress," and this is from Michael Johnson, and he goes on to say that technology has leveled the playing field for those individuals and companies who can look ahead and take advantage of emerging technologies. And I think he's absolutely right
On
about that.
point. Yes,
Yeah,
on
He's
point.
Interesting
absolutely right about
response.
that.
that is correct.
There's something that's in my head, and I may take a little while to get to it. It's this that we tend to think that technology has to do with the smartphone or the computer, but the truth of the matter is, a stove represents technology. A car tire is technology, and so in this disruptive technology discussion, are there things that will really come along and make a big difference that don't have anything really to do with information technology, but other kinds of technology?
There are massive changes taking place in what we call manufacturing.
Right.
Um, I'm gonna hit on one of my pet subjects. Let's take the electric vehicle. The electric vehicles are becoming mainstream in Europe, North America. Many people in Jamaica have never even seen one, don't know how they perform. But these vehicles are nothing like what we grew up knowing. They're nothing like the gas engine or the ICE, they call it internal combustion engine, ICE engines. Electric vehicles, traditional vehicle manufacturers are struggling to make them because they keep going back to their old designs and their old ways of doing things. And the public doesn't really want that. You don't want an electric vehicle which is going to look like the car you had 10 years ago. You want an electric vehicle which is going to look different. And people are going to say, what's that? And they already perform way better than gas engines. They have no gears, they have no engine. They're very, very simple. They're like the toy car you grew up with. It's just a little motor and a battery. That's all it really is, right? And a lot of electronics, right? But that's all it boils down to. You, the individual, can actually think about designing, building your own electric vehicles using manufacturing techniques like carbon fiber instead of the old aluminum pressing. There are many things you can do, right? And so it is possible for a Jamaican company with a few guys who are vehicle or car enthusiasts to go into business and to compete with the big boys. It can happen. And that's happening in a lot of manufacturing industries, you know, that you can compete with the traditional players and you'll be surprised how well you can compete. When you use 3D printing, when you use robotics, when you use automation, you can compete.
And that just backs up the point that YouTube commenter Michael had made. It levels the playing field and allows access to these emerging technologies that persons can take advantage of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that response because what it means is that we don't have to just think about information technology alone.
No.
There are so many different ways and means for us to get in on this before we get left behind. That makes so much sense to me. Are there any specific benefits to disruptive technology that you would want to highlight?
Uh, well, I would look at the cost of starting a business using disruptive technology. For the cost of art, a top of the line cell phone nowadays is about what, 1,200 US dollars. I don't
Yeah.
know. My cell phone is 4 years old, but the top of the line ones are somewhere around that. And for the $1,400, you can buy a computer, you can buy a 3D printer, you can buy the different types of ribbons that the 3D printer uses. The rubber, there's something called Ninja plastic. There's metallic ribbons that you can use. There's all kinds of ribbons. And for the cost of the same $1,200, you can buy all of these things and you can start your own business. Go online using your YouTube channel or your own shopping channel and sell your products. People can see them and stuff. Sell your products, custom products. So if you have a shoe and you're showing it in size 7, typical lady size, and somebody wants a size 12, right?
You
All
just
you
print
do
it.
is, eh?
You just print it.
You just print it.
Yes.
You just scale it up on the computer,
Yeah.
and you send it to the printer. And then you send that,
Wow.
you customize it. You put Roland at the top where you have the traditional names, or you put Amanda if it's a lady shoe. So you have the Amanda range of shoes, and all of a sudden Amanda is a top ladies shoe designer, and she's getting orders not just from Jamaica, but from all over the world, and she can't keep up.
And she can't keep up.
1,200. She will never keep up with that demand.
I love that, and that's something that I think is incredible for us to hear now in this particular economy, that we don't have to be left behind if we think about and apply our mind and our effort to doing what we want to do, what we need to do. Then we definitely can do that. There is another point to this, and it is for me very important. The older I get, the more mature I get, the more I realize that our health is important. Are there
Yes.
disruptive technologies in health, in the healthcare services?
Yes, there are
Yes.
several. They range from simple things, but one of the popular ones is some surgeries, and many doctors would probably disagree. But let's say you needed a particular type of surgery. Let's, for argument's sake, you need heart surgery. The nearest doctor who can perform the surgery you need may not be in Jamaica, right? They may be in Europe
Or India.
or India or
India is
wherever.
involved.
Yeah, India does that. Now, with robotics, that doctor can sit down in Europe or India and manipulate some either a joystick kind of device or a hands type of device, and where you are, the robot will manipulate what that doctor is doing to within 1/1000th of an inch.
Sir, I don't like to do this, right, sir? But I have to say, you sure that sounds impossible?
It's once you have the internet, once you have a high speed internet, that
Wow.
robot can mimic what the doctor is doing in those other countries, right? And they've been
That
doing it.
is
That's interesting.
amazing. That's amazing. And I'm
Indeed.
glad we don't have dial up anymore, because I'd hate him start and then hear and it cut out.
Oh wow.
That's so
That would
cool.
be
Man,
scary.
that is amazing. We're almost up on the break. So I want to remind our listeners and our audience that we want to know how technology is affecting your career choice and how you are adjusting. So we want to see your responses. Remember, we have WhatsApp, we have comments live on Facebook and on YouTube, and we have the studio lines, all right? I am sure, I'm positive, just talking to the Robinsons, that they want to hear from you as well.
Yes, and just so you know, the numbers for the FLM head office in Kingston are 876-920-1034 or 876-920-8101. Don't go anywhere, because right now it's time for WTF, Word to Flesh Moments with Rev Mike.
The wheel, the light bulb, and the cell phone are three examples of disruptive change or disruptive technologies. These innovations caused major changes in people's lives. Some of these were met with gladness by some and sadness by others, for disruptive technologies sometimes cause people to lose jobs and others to gain employment. Here are two strategies to help you handle change and disruptive technologies. Number one, plan ahead. Number two, reframe your thinking. If you know change is on the horizon, plan for it. Change is less stressful when you have a plan in place. American poet Maya Angelou advised, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. American motivational writer William Ward observed, change, like sunshine, can be a friend or a foe, a blessing or a curse. In other words, your preparation for change and your attitude toward change may determine if change is a negative or a positive for you. No matter the change or the disruptive technology, Here's an assurance that we all can hold on to. Romans 8:28. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. So in the midst of change, keep loving God and keep living purpose. It will work for your good. I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle Ministries, and we just had a WTF moment.
Jamaica Central Bank digital currency is now here. Jamdex, no cash, no problem. Step into a future of ease, convenience, and security. Conduct business with your mobile device instantly and without fees. This is how life should be with Jamdex. You get your free. Jamdex and the real free. Use it to buy your store or TV. You can buy your shoes or 3Ps. The central bank digital currency. No cash, no problem. Jamdex, backed by the Bank of Jamaica.
Here's why you can't afford to miss the Morning Watch.
I love listening to the Morning Watch because topics are discussed and issues are highlighted that are of major importance, which in turn edify me.
The Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
I like listening to the Morning Watch. I find it very informative. I find it very interesting. The topics that are covered are very, very wide.
The Morning Watch, thought-provoking, insightful, current. Listen for the probing questions with attorney at law Stokely Marshall and the in-depth discussion with Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint. On Tuesdays, the Morning Watch is brought to you by Holtz Hardware, the leader in electrical building and everything for the home, and the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, achieving prosperity through partnership and development. The Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The Morning Watch is on the family station, Love 101.
Jamaica, let us arrive alive. We know everyone has somewhere to be or someone to see. Whether you are going on a trip, headed to a party, running errands, getting gifts, or visiting family and friends. Arrive alive. Slow down. There's no rush. Look out for yourself and others. Don't let your life be a statistic. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads. So take time on the road. Arrive alive.
A message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Expo Jamaica 2023. We're connecting the world to Jamaica. Support all things Jamaica. Over 350 exhibits on display. CB Food Court, Farmers Market, Gems Village, True Shake Kids Zone. 3 exciting days, 2 arenas. Friday to Sunday, April 28 to 30. National Indoor Sports Center to the National Arena. Produced by JMEA. Powered by the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Partners, Jampro, JPS, Scotiabank, NCB, Access Financial Services, and CB Foods. Facebook and IG for details.
Do you think I'm hearing you? Roland, we're not hearing you.
I'm sorry, I had it muted, and that's something
That's okay.
I do during the break so that people don't hear me when I am carrying on in here and laughing. Our time now is about 6:05. It's about 6:05 p.m. And Amanda, we asking the listeners and the viewers about their experience with technology affecting their career choices and how they are adjusting. I want to ask you that same question. Has technology affected your career choice, and how are you adjusting?
Well, it hasn't really affected my career choice as yet. I hope it I hope it doesn't. I am an entrepreneur, and I have a plant business. That's a part of what I do. So as it stands now, I wouldn't say technology has affected it negatively as yet, and I hope it doesn't. I look forward to the positive aspects of technology with my business.
All right.
So
So
that's what I would say.
yeah, it's a situation where the technology probably helps you. It doesn't hinder or hurt you.
It wouldn't. It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. All right, great. I'm going to have our guests come back in. I hope they're ready for us.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
are right back here, and that's great because, as I said, it's already 5 minutes past 6, so we don't have a lot of time. Um, we we have been discussing and we've been talking about some amazing stuff. You mentioned that you can have a surgeon in India or somewhere in Europe who is working on a Jamaican patient right here in Jamaica via the internet and those technologies. Are there any real drawbacks to disruptive technology that we should be aware of or that we should really try to mitigate?
Um,
Yes.
I could probably start off with some simpler ones. Uh, we got news of Chat GPT, right? So Chat GPT is one of these AI tools that is used with sourcing all kinds of information. You name it, it will find it. But the issue though is that with Chat GPT, for instance, it looks at knowledge intensive, language amenable kinds of information, and it can then give you really good output.
Wow, sorry, 1 second, please. I didn't understand what you said a while ago. It gives you
Uh, right?
language amenable.
Yes, if it's prone to a lot of writing, right? So
Okay.
structured
Right,
writing and heavy knowledge, so a lot of
right.
information which you need to put. So things like journalistic pieces can be done by Chat GPT. Essays can be written by Chat GPT. Information on how to set up a business, you can get that from Chat GPT. A lecturer gives a student an assignment to go look at the psychological impact of um, technologies on certain types of business persons, and they go on and get that information. They bring it in, they submit that.
Is Chat GPT some kind of AI? What is
It
it?
is an AI, artificial intelligent software.
Oh,
So
I'm
that's what
not
it does.
familiar with that.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Heard
and
of it
so there
before.
are drawbacks. However, while it is able to do lots of wonderful stuff, persons must know how to use it. For example, when teachers are going to be using there are benefits to it because it assists them with creating lesson plans for those who teach in secondary schools, etc. It assists with the kinds of assessments you may want to do. It allows you to create the assessments, gives you suggestions, create the rubrics, all of that kind of stuff. But in addition to that, there are drawbacks because um, there are biases. Sometimes the information is not correct because AI thrives and learns. And so AI learns based on what information you're feeding it. And it is, if you think back to back in the day when we talked about GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So when we feed the AI and the AI learns, it then gets better at what it does, but it's based on the
Okay.
information that it gets, right? And so we have to think about that kind of thing, the bias information that comes out. And there are some other technicalities which persons may not necessarily understand, but for those who do, there are things like writing references, reference lists when you're doing academic papers, and it will not necessarily give you your reference list in the particular format. Those things are incorrectly done, and we have tested this and seen it, and so we know that there
Okay.
are going to be drawbacks with this. And other drawbacks are when if students are going to be using this and just cutting and pasting and having the software writing the papers for them and doing the assignments and the activities for them, it is problematic in the sense that you the student, you're not really learning because you're not even reading what is there. Hey, AI just did it, boom, send, and so
That's really disruptive. That is
yes.
pure
Yes.
disruption there.
So that is disruptive. One of the
Yeah.
things, however, is that a lecturer in that case or a teacher would therefore understand, know their student, and know that, don't write like that. That is not her language at all. She did not do that. So let's give her a different kind of assessment. She's gonna do an assessment, an oral assessment. So she's gonna discuss We'll have a panel discussion, and she's going to talk about what we need to know that she knows. Right? So there are drawbacks.
Yeah.
But Rudy
Right.
can tell you more on.
I've had students who you give them an essay to write, and as Carolyn said, these students have never written a sentence in English, which doesn't which isn't full of grammatical errors. Never, right? And they go on platforms like ChatGPT, the artificially intelligent things, and they basically give the ChatGPT the question, and within 10 seconds maximum, ChatGPT scours all of these main computers around the world. It goes all over the world. It's a learning engine, so it learns from all of these thousands of computers for information on the topic that you want. And the more precise you are, the more precise is its response. And these students produce papers which PhD candidates would be proud of. And they're saying, "You wrote this? Oh yes, sir. I just gave you the assignment a few hours ago. Oh yeah, I googled it, which is possible, right? And they are producing work which is way beyond their level of competence. They're using words which how do you know that word? I don't know. You have lecturers running into the dictionary. What does that mean, right? And that's because they use these artificially intelligent software to do it. You know.
Right. I just want to just quickly say that based on what I'm aware of, Chat GPT was actually released in November 2022. So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking back, those days when I used to attend university, what would our world be like if that existed? Because we had to spend a lot of time trying to figure out the right format to do, list your references with and ensure that you follow the different formats. So I can
If
only
you did the
imagine what it would have been
sciences,
like.
if you did the sciences, you'd probably have encountered some difficulty, because another drawback is that it's not going to give you diagrammatic outputs.
Okay.
Right. So you would not get those. Right. So you'd be
Not
left.
yet. Not yet. They're
Not
working
yet.
on
They're
it.
working on it. So you'd be left out in that case.
Okay. And I think probably we could move to the other question that we wanted to ask, which is what should we be doing now when thinking about a future career?
Okay. We have to watch carefully what is happening in the artificial intelligence world, because we're not talking about, as you said, ChatGPT just came out a few months ago, right?
Right.
But ChatGPT has what is called a learning engine. It learns like how we learn. It's been trained to
Okay.
learn on its own. And unlike us, it has access to millions of resources. Everything out there on the internet, it has access to. And so it's learning at a phenomenal rate. The question you gave ChatGPT last week, if you give it back this week, it's a completely different answer, because it has learned all of these new things about that area, which it can now use. Right now,
Okay.
that rate of learning can be scary, because at some point the skeptics say that these artificially intelligent software programs, now even though they're written by people, the outcome that they produce is not controlled in most cases, and they can come up with some surprising results, surprising outcomes. You know, if you give them some problems, it's going to say, well, look, not just chat, but the AI software can tell you things like, well, look, the problem seems to be with humans, and if we get rid of the humans, we get rid of the problem, right? That's scary, because you don't want computers figuring, oh, just get rid of the humans and we solve all of these problems. To the computer, there's no moral or ethical component to the solution, right? And if you watch those old time movies like Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger and those characters, that's the basis of why those computers attacked humans and the world ended up the way it did, right? Artificially intelligent software, overlearning, so to speak, going way out of the control of its designers, and then turning on humans. And so this is one of the biggest fears that they have with this artificially intelligent rush. It, and that is, these things are going to outsmart, not just outsmart us, they're going to plot against us. You know?
Wow, is my looking at the time correct? It looks like it's 6:15 already.
Yes, they're great.
Time is running, so we're going to have to take a break now. This is our final break, and of course, we want our listeners to really join us and participate. The Robinsons have shared so much insight that we want to tap into them a little further. You can send us WhatsApp messages, you can go on our Facebook page, or you can go on the YouTube channel. All right. Reminder, the WhatsApp number is 997-3125. And the question we want you to answer, viewers, listeners, is this: how is technology affecting your career choice, and how are you adjusting? All right. That's what we want you to do. Participate and help us to flesh this out a little more.
Mormac Auto Parts, your Honda Ridgeline new parts dealer located in Kingston. Call us at 326-7371 or 821-5232. Remember, we are your Honda Ridgeline new parts dealer located in Kingston. Call us at 326-7371 or 821-5232 now.
Here's why you can't afford to miss the Morning Watch.
I love listening to the Morning Watch because topics are discussed and issues are highlighted that are of major importance, which in turn edify me.
The Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
I like listening to the Morning Watch. I find it very informative. I find it very interesting. The topics that are covered are very, very wide.
The Morning Watch, thought-provoking, insightful, current. Listen for the probing questions with attorney at law Stokely Marshall and the in-depth discussion with Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint. On Tuesdays, the Morning Watch is brought to you by Holtz Hardware, the leader in electrical building and everything for the home, and the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, achieving prosperity through partnership and development. The Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The Morning Watch is on the family station Love 101.
What is the soul? Do all living things have one? Is a soul the same thing as a spirit? Tuesday, April 18 on The Rock. Join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Donald Stewart and Dane Wilson as they discuss the topic, the soul. That's The Rock, Tuesday, April 18 at 10 a.m. here on the family station Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love. Well, welcome back. It is now 6:18 p.m. and you are tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries, FLM. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for our numbers in Kingston and Portmore at the end of this program. Remember, we're Facebook and YouTube Live. So tune into the program via the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. The topic today is disruptive technology and career choices with Rudy and Curlin Robinson. So I think we just would like to continue pretty much regarding our thoughts and ideas surrounding this. What if we don't set our minds and actions for the change? I think that's the next question we would like to ask the Robinsons.
Well, that's like saying we plan to fail.
Interesting. You can tell us a little bit more about what you mean.
Simple.
Okay. Let's say I'm a farmer, and you grow up in the farm and you know to plant crops. I can't do any of these things, but you understand farming, right. And let us say I grow lettuce. Traditionally, you plant your field with the lettuce and then you water it and so on. And every 6 weeks, you get a crop. It's a cash crop. All right. Now, one of the disruptive technologies which are affecting farmers is hydroponics. Basically means you're growing things in pipes. You take the same pipes that you see in your house, which are used for drainage pipes.
Right.
You
Love
bore
that.
holes in those pipes, and then you put the seeds in a little basket in those holes, and the roots grow, and then you run water through the pipes constantly. Just have water going around and around and around in these pipes, and the seeds grow at a faster rate than if you had planted them in the soil, right? And not only do they grow
That's true.
faster, they're healthier. There are no insects to disturb them. There's no insects in the pipes. There's no dirt in the pipes. The only thing you put in the pipes is you add a little what they call nutrients to the water, and that's
Right, right.
right. And so within that same 6 weeks, you have a healthier crop than you would have had if you had done it in the field. There are no insect bites if you do it in a greenhouse or anything like that, right? And one of the projects that we worked on recently was what we call staggered production, where you don't plant out the whole thing one time. Every week you plant a different batch, which means
Right.
every week, after 6 weeks, every week you reap a different batch. So
Yeah.
every week you're reaping, which is business, right? So
Yes.
unlike the traditional farmer who's going to have this whole mass after 6 weeks of lettuce, and he's going to
Right.
try to sell it to hotels and business places and restaurants, and he's not going to get a good price for it, and somebody's going to spoil it. With hydroponics, you're reaping every week,
Yes, yes.
and you can now actually, as a farmer, have contracts in a restaurant. I can supply you, I don't know, a ton of lettuce every week, and you can honor that contract because you can do that. And not only can you honor that contract, you're using much less water than the guy in the field. You're not fighting all of the, and you don't need a proper farm. You know,
Yes, yes.
if you have a big rooftop, you can do this on your rooftop.
Right. I am aware of hydroponics also, Mr. Robinson, because
Okay,
I deal with botany. I may not use that particular process, but I'm aware of it. So I
right.
know that as you're saying, it can be very productive. I think probably I could also ask Mrs. Robinson that same question. What if we don't set our minds and action for the change? What if we don't?
Um, I'll say it this way: only the adaptable will survive. If you don't change your
Okay.
attitude toward
Comment.
lifelong learning, where you're constantly upgrading, paying attention to the changes in technology, staying alert, um, you are going to be left. And I'm not even going to say left behind, because behind gives you the impression you can catch up. You're just going to be left, right? Um, there is this thing called micro credentialing, where you're doing short courses. So if you don't want to do a whole long degree, you can upskill, upgrade yourself with these short courses through micro credentialing, where you're stacking these credentials. So you collect a certificate for a 6 week course in hydroponics. So yes, I now know how to do hydroponics. I can use that technology. You know, the training has to be your responsibility as an individual to want to do that, to get there, to
Right.
get where you need to go. You see, the Chinese have one word for crisis and opportunity. The same word is used for crisis and
Mm.
opportunity. It's wichi, and it means clearly the crisis is the opportunity. There's no such thing as
Mm.
a crisis. You're really looking at an opportunity. And so,
Right.
what we would encourage persons to do is to ensure that they're looking at it through these lenses: crisis equal opportunity. Therefore, do not see
Right.
the rapid change in technology as crisis, but as opportunity.
Thanks for sharing, Mrs. Robinson. Believe we have a YouTube question, right, Roland?
Yes, indeed. So let's ask the studio to share that with us. And it's from Marva Lindo, and she says, "Good evening to you. I am thinking if it will affect one who studies international relations." She's asking if disruptive technologies will affect somebody who studies international relations. Any thoughts on that?
The initial thing that came to me was in international relations. They're probably dealing with foreign affairs and stuff like that. And I just thought of a technology I'd seen, holographic technology, where you can literally be physically in a space, or seemingly physically in a space, doing your presentation to your international audience when you're really still sitting here in Jamaica.
Absolutely,
Wow.
that would be so cool. Were you going to say something, sir?
Me?
Mr.
Yes.
Robinson, yes.
Nothing positive.
Oh boy, I hear you.
What I
I
was going to
hear
say
you.
is that some professions may feel safe, they may feel comfortable, they may say, "Ah, it did never affect us. We're different." You know, for example, international relations and law, you might be figuring, well, look, we we're safe, but you're not. You know, if I go on artificial intelligence software now and I need a rental agreement with specific conditions, I can tell the software I need a rental agreement and it must have this, and this, and it must be ironclad. Right now, normally you go to a lawyer for that type of thing, but you can use I can get that in 10 minutes.
Right, right, and you're not paying anybody for it.
Not paying anybody for it. Uh,
Wow,
and
that's
similarly with
amazing.
international relations, that kind of thing, that person can probably relate to that type of arrangement. You know, you're making you're doing international relations and you're making international agreements in different countries. But I could use AI and outsmart you and have a better agreement which they'd want to go with. And so nothing is safe. Nothing is safe.
Nothing is safe.
I
Nothing
think
is safe.
Okay.
though that if we were to look at some careers where there is more human involvement and emotions, um, things like perhaps nursing or psychology, social work, some of these kinds of careers, they would probably be lasting a lot longer. I mean, if we're thinking of nursing and we say we're thinking of the human touch, or we're thinking of physiotherapy and stuff like that, maybe there can be a robot which can do the massage just as well. They'll get to that point. But for now, I think some of those uh, cannibalizing of professions can be staved off for yet a while.
Oh, yeah, well.
Okay. So I wanted to also ask, do you have any encouragement and tips that you'd like to give us? So in the grand scheme of things, we know that artificial intelligence, disruptive technology is very much present and making its moves and strides. But I really wanted to ask you quickly, do you have any encouragement and tips to give us in the midst of that as humans? We're humans, right? So any encouragement and tips quickly?
I would say do not despair. Change is inevitable. And once we are preparing ourselves, it's a mindset which has to change first, and the attitude. And once we are able to do that, we look for the opportunities where the training that is required to equip us is available. And we essentially take it from there. I don't think we have to be so scared. When we were growing up, everything else looked like it would be a humongous hurdle to overcome. I didn't like hurdles at all, even though I was a sports person. But everything looked like a hurdle. And so when you thought of, oh, the calculator is coming, and you figure, great, what have you, and the teacher was thinking, oh no. But the hurdles are there. Do not see them as insurmountable, but welcome them as opportunities and go after them.
Yes. Right, right. Thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, for
I would
sharing.
just want to add to that.
Go ahead.
If you
Sorry,
are
sir. Sorry. Just going to ask you, please, to make it brief because we are
Yes,
actually
we have
at,
a
just
time.
for one sentence.
yeah, go ahead.
If you are creative, you can outsmart AI. Creativity.
Okay.
So
Creativity. Thanks for that tip. Thanks for that tip. And thank you very much for being here with us. If you have any questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, call us at Family Life Ministries for our center in Portmore at 117 Cecile Avenue. That's 876-939-7917 is the number to call. And for more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. Note that appointments can only be made by calling the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Family Life Ministries FLMJA. Over to you, Roland.
Before we leave, we just want to share a Bible verse. It's from Psalm 143, verse 1. And it says, O Lord, hear my prayer. Listen to my cry for mercy. In your faithfulness and righteousness, come to my relief. Join us again next week at 5:30 for family time. We really appreciate Rudy and Carlin Robinson for being with us. Thanks to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications, our studio facilitator, Daniel Downes, and of course, you, our listeners and viewers. Blessings, everyone. Bye-bye on behalf of Amanda and myself, all right? Have a good day.